You multitask well. So.
Are you going to put this on YouTube too?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Today we're talking about the Revolutionary War soldiers buried in Logan County, and I was glad to get this assignment because I was wanting to do this at some time, but I just hadn't gotten around to doing it, and so it made me pay attention for the last month or so, trying to locate these guys. So where do I start? Well, let's go to the courthouse and find the plaque from the Abraham Lincoln chapter D.A.R. And we have 6 guys listed here. We have Henry Downing, Henry Kimes, Henry Lantis, Abram is what they got there, but it's Abraham Lucas, Humphrey Scroggins, and James Turley. I had to track down photos of some of these guys for headstones, but I was not always successful.
Where is that
Couldn't
located?
find Turley's. Pardon?
Where in the courthouse is that located?
When you go in the only door you can get in,
Yeah.
you go straight across, and it's on the left, just opposite the World War I.
Okay, okay. I think I've seen it before, but I forgot where it was.
And I think there's a plaque there for Mexican War too,
Oh, really?
if I remember right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you've got 6 guys you start with, and then I went into my Revolutionary War file, in the vertical file in the back, and went through a lot of papers. Came across some conversations that I had copied off of a website for Logan County, Illinois, run by Cheryl Rothwell. I don't know if anybody knows Cheryl from Pulaski originally, but she lived in Florida for a long time, and she lives in Indiana now, but she's over the whole state of Illinois now, supervising the website for the state. So, and she can claim 4 of these guys as direct ancestors.
Oh my gosh.
So she can get into your organization 4 different ways. And then she's got a 5th one that's in the line. Well, the conversation that she was having with this other gal was about a William Patterson. This lady says, William Patterson is buried in Logan County, and he is. He's in Downing Cemetery, and he is a Revolutionary War veteran. So we got some stuff together on him. We had another one come up, John Music. If you remember the name Robert Music, who plays a heavy part in the early history of Logan County. It's his father. And he came with Robert when they moved into the county in 1823. So they were here pretty early. And then there was a
And he is buried in the music
cemetery, and no stone that I could find.
Okay.
There's a John Music there, but it's a grandson.
So there's a music cemetery?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it's go out 121, and when you get to Bell Station, instead of following 121 around, you go straight. And the road will follow around, and out there somewhere you see a sign that says, don't go this way because the bridge is out. But you go there anyway. And then you don't get as far as the bridge. And there's a White House on the right. Or left. That's a left hand, isn't it? And the lane goes up to that house, and then it's off to on a kind of a high rise above Sugar Creek area, and you can get right to it. So it's
Been
but
there.
it's a
Yeah, been there. Edwards Trace.
if the cemetery maintenance district has mowed it recently, it's easier to walk. It wasn't too bad when I was out there. The day I was out there, but
You know what she just said?
but
I said, she said she's been there, and I said, why did you go there?
Oh, Edwards Trace.
yes,
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah,
ask you
daughters,
questions
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
We have a guy researching Edwards Trace right now. So I told him, you guys know where all that stuff is.
Yeah.
You've been the whole
Not
thing.
only that, but
So
we could mark that grave. if
yeah,
we-
at
if
least
we-
get something in the cemetery.
Yes.
Oh,
But the cemetery's
For-
in bad need of restoration.
Yeah,
Sure.
that could be
Many of the
marked.
stones are down and
Project.
buried, and I don't know what it would take to get that done. That's
But that would help
Yeah.
get Robert's,
John's
John's,
music.
yeah,
Mhm.
but that would
If
help,
there is a stone.
yeah, we have to find it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and then there was a third name that came up in the conversation these ladies were having. This was 2007, and I knew it was Revolutionary War, so I printed all that conversation out and I put it in that file, just so when it came to 16 years later, getting around to it, I would have that information. And so that guy is in here too, but unfortunately he's not in Logan County. So that's where it started with these 6 guys. So we'll start with John Downing. John is buried out at Mauer Templeman Cemetery, and if you don't know where that is, head out 121 to Mount Pulaski, and you get to the Sparks area. It's the one it's got that wind turbine generated electricity. They've had it for long before it became popular to do that sort of thing. But there's a lane before you get to that, and it goes back up the hill where the cemetery is.
Yeah.
And that's still an active cemetery. We're still burying people in there. But here's John Stone, and
Oh my gosh.
he died December 18th, 1838. So all the records you're going to find on these guys that died before 1839 are going to be logged as being buried in Sangamon County, because we were a part of Sangamon County at that time. And so was Menard County, which plays a role in that 9th guy. But this is a well-marked D.A.R. and Revolutionary veteran, so there's no missing it when you get out there.
Right.
The bottom one is a military stone, and the top one, of course, is probably D.A.R. Okay, I was hoping everybody'd be a little closer so I wouldn't have to read so much. But he was born after 1862. They don't have a definite date on him. And he died 18th of December 1838 at 76 years old. He's buried in Bowers Templeman Cemetery. We've been over all that, but he served as a private in Pennsylvania, served in Captain James Scott 8th Company, 3rd Battalion, Washington County, Pennsylvania Militia. And ran out of paper, so. And sources of information are D.A.R. records, pension index, and family records. And this is what Cheryl Rothwell's used, at least him, to get into the D.A.R. And that's her ancestor number for that. And now it says Maryland here, and then the other one said Pennsylvania, so I'm a little confused on that. But they're close together, I guess. They probably went over the line.
They probably didn't know where they were too.
But service source is Clements and Wright's Maryland military in the Revolutionary War, pages 137 and 244. And service description, he's with the Captain Basil Williams, the 2nd Battalion, Washington County Militia. And he married Hannah Frakes, and they had 9 children. You can see them listed there. These guys were prolific after they got out of the service.
Well, so many.
And there's
children
Hannah's
died.
phone.
Oh, yeah.
The second one we have is Henry Kime. And Henry has a marker from, I believe he's got a military marker too. He's at Zion Cemetery, just north of town here. And he's back in the northeast corner of the cemetery, in the old part where the church used to sit out
Is
there.
that across the street there, or no?
It's in the older parts on the north side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. But he died in 1833, so again, he was buried in Sangamon County, lived and buried there, so buried here. So we stole him. And but he was with the Pennsylvania. He was a private in the Chester County Militia, Revolutionary War. And there's these Abraham Lincoln Chapter D.A.R. plaque. He was born in 1759. That's been a hard transition, going from talking about 1800s all the time and you're going back to 1700s. So 1759 in Chester County, Pennsylvania. And his death date, buried in Zion Cemetery, and he married in 1780 to Hannah Randolph. Not sure they listed his children here. Service, it was a private in the Pennsylvania, served in Captain Edward Vernon's company, Chester County Militia in 1780, and in Captain James Denning's company in 1781-82. And sources are D.A.R. Patriot Index and American Revolutionary Soldiers Buried in Illinois by Harriet Walker. And that book was written in 1917. And we can see that as time goes on, research gets easier and we find more people. So we probably will find more Revolutionary War veterans here. I know you can't read that one, but I will. I'll read the bottom part to you. The top part's the same as what we've already seen. But this is, well, I'll just read it to you. Toward the end of the 19th century, the snowbirds, if you ever heard of them, they were folks who had arrived before the deep snow of 1830, formed the Old Settlers Association. Judge Stringer wrote an excellent history of Logan County and recounted many of the meetings Henry Johnson came to. And Henry was grandson of Henry Kimes. To one, he wore a vest his grandfather Henry Kime had worn in the battlefields of the Revolution. But he hadn't heard, there wasn't anything in the article that you'd read about what battlefields Henry Johnson might have served on. So he had an artifact. I don't know if it's still around anywhere, but it would be nice to see it. And here's part of the conversation between Cheryl and one of these other people. I found Henry Kimes online. Needless to say, I don't know if it's all true. Henry Kime was born 1790, all that same. Henry's christening on the 26th of May in 1776, and he was 17 years old when he was baptized. Okay. Pretty much what we've already talked about. Revolutionary War activity, private 8th class. I'm going to have to check on how they do their classes of these. Because 8th class, you know, you usually start out as private 3rd class, and then you move up to 2nd, 3rd, to 1st. Well, starting at 8th, it seems like it took an awful long time just to become a plain private. Private 8th class, Captain Edward Vernon's Company, Chester County, Pennsylvania Militia, 1881 and 82, Captain James Denny's Company, and 1782, 3rd Company, 1st Battalion under Colonel John Gardner. I kept wondering why these guys were, you know, skip and miss on their service, but you stop to think about it, these guys were farmers. And they had to do things in certain seasons. They had to be home to do that, so they would go home and do their work and come back again. So it was not like they had a steady supply of food and everything. Henry Lantis is buried in Reed Cemetery, and I didn't get out there. I think it's one of those that you can't get to when the crops are up.
Where is it, did you say?
It's just a half mile from Music Cemetery. But,
What's the name of it?
Reed. It's also called Wigger Cemetery. There's 2 names that go. We have a lot of cemeteries that go by 2 names.
How do you spell that, Bill, the Reed?
R-E-E-D.
Okay.
And the
Wiggers, you said also? It's called?
and the so I don't know if there's a D.A.R. marker out there. There wasn't one on Facebook, or not Facebook, but Find a Grave is where I got this picture. And I would have assumed if we had a D.A.R. marker, they would have had that in there as well. But I tried to get some information on his service, because we don't have anything here. And I looked and I looked and I couldn't find anything anywhere. And then I asked my wife, I said, because she's on Ancestry all the time, so she knows how to work that better than I do anymore. She got a whole lot better than I ever was. So I gave her the name, and she said, "Well, let me look for a while." 10 minutes she had some information on him, but if you look at that first line, it's no wonder I can't find the military, because your name is spelled 16 different ways, you know. And so I never did focus in on that. But what I did find out, he was born April 6th, 1764 in Frederick County, Maryland. Died 22nd of December, 1841. Death place in Mackinac. I'll read you something to you here in a little bit that will clarify that. And he's buried in Reed Cemetery, Logan County, Illinois. Shirley did find that Henry Lantis was on page 10 of the U.S. Revolutionary War U.S. Veteran Files. So it's there, I just can't get to it. He married Susanna Elizabeth Green, and they had 6 children. Now I put T in Lantis here, but these were all spelled with a D when I got hold of this. And this is from Stringer's History of Logan County. And you can see the highlighted part. And it says, Henry Lantis and his wife Elizabeth from the state of Ohio. Mr. Lantis, he came the same time that Bob Music came. So they lived real close together. Mr. Lantis staked out a claim of nearly 300 acres in 1823 near the Musics in the northeastern corner of what is now West Lincoln Township. Soon after, he was joined by his brother Daniel Lantis, who had brought his family from Ohio to Salt Creek, but who soon changed his location to that of his brother on Sugar Creek. He went to Champaign County in 1853, where he died. This is Daniel now. He died in 1866. Henry Landis also moved to Tazewell County in the 50s, where he died. And that's going to be hard to do in the 50s when you're dead in 1841. So there's no confusion here. Okay, Abraham Lucas is in Steenbergen Cemetery, which is down southeast of Mount Pulaski. Beautiful cemetery. Always well groomed and taken care of. But
Oh my gosh.
Abraham Lucas died July 2nd, 1841. So we haven't found anybody yet. Oh, wait a minute, 1841. It was Logan County then. So the last two guys broke the mold there. And then he's got his Revolutionary Soldier's marker right there. And then a little bit about Abraham. 1761, he was born in Morris County, New Jersey. Died 2nd of July, 1841, buried in Steenbergen. Spouse is Marcy Kelsey, and she died in 1835 at the age of 71. Now, Abraham had an interesting service. He was an Indian spy in Pennsylvania. He enlisted in Captain Bromtum's company. Colonel Lachlan, I think is what it's pronounced, Lachlan McIntosh Regiment, serving 4 months in the frontier of Pennsylvania. Served as a spy in an expedition against the Indians. That expedition and the spying didn't count towards his service. So he had applied for a pension in 1839 from Springfield to Sangamon County, and it was not granted as he had served less than 6 months. So he had to make up that 6 months. And sources for D.A.R. Pension, American Revolution soldiers buried in Illinois, and Sangamon County Genealogical Society. And this is some more information. I wasn't going to retype all that. Published rolls of 5 battalions in Washington County Militia, and then it's got other, but it's well established that he was a veteran, and he's buried in Logan County. Then we go to John Music. And did get this information from somewhere. John Music served in the Revolutionary War in Captain Birney's company of Colonel Francis Taylor's Virginia Convention Guards Regiment. The regiment was formed in Orange County, Virginia, and served guarding prisoners taken at Saratoga. All of John's service was in Virginia. And then to back that up, when I went to Ancestry to get his genealogy, see what's at the top of the page? Betsy Ross flag. I wouldn't think that you'd not use that if it wasn't for being a veteran. So, and he married Mary Berry, and then they had 10 children. Huge families back then. And here's the one piece that we did have in my file in there was a I don't know if this is a pension application or what. I don't recognize the form, but it was to do with Taylor's Virginia Regiment. I like this camera. It does a good job, but it shuts off every 23 minutes. That's why I'm close to it. I've got my hearing aids in. I can hear it beep when it does it. Then we got William Patterson. We talked about him just a little bit. And he's in Downing Cemetery, and there's his stone, but I don't know that he has a marker because it wasn't at Find a Grave when I went there. But this had been cleaned up. Find a Grave had several images of this stone, and most of them were unreadable. They were so dirty. So somebody got in there and had it cleaned or cleaned it. But these are articles from the Sangamo Journal in 1840. And I did have these. It says, another revolutionary patriot gone. Died in Logan County on the 16th instant. Mr. William Patterson, aged about 83. He was one of that little band who faced the dangers of war to achieve our country's independence. In the early period of the war, and also in his life, he joined the American Army and took an active part in many of the most trying events of our revolutionary struggle. He was interred with martial honors on the 18th. Thus has another revolutionary patriot been called to join his companions, who are fast accumulating around the throne of God. And June 5th, which is 2 months later, they finally announced his death. And then in that conversation, they had this information on that he was this Ellen Craven. The end of the first paragraph there was the one that was talking to Cheryl, and then this is her fourth great grandfather, and she has his application for pension. And Cheryl responded, I knew it was someone connected to the group who came from Madison County, but I always forgot him. He is in my database because his grandson William married Edith Morrow, who was a relative of hers. So that's her fifth connection with the revolution. For some reason he was buried in Downing Cemetery, although the Madison County Downings, other Pattersons, Morrows, etc. are at Bowers Templeman. He needs a revolutionary moral marker, but if there is one, it was not there when the cemetery was last walked. But she said it could be buried. So
Where is Downing Cemetery?
we just got a nice gift from tourism. Map of Logan County
Oh my God.
has all the cemeteries marked on it.
Oh my God.
Oh,
And Downing, I think, is down in the, where's Donnan? Okay, where's Downing? I think it was down in that Mount Pulaski, yeah, north of Mount Pulaski, out in the country about right here.
Who put that together?
This map came from the county. I can't remember the guy's name who came over here, and we sat for a couple of days locating all the cemeteries and all the one-room schools.
Bill DeAndrea, wasn't
And
it?
pardon?
DeAndrea? wasn't that
DeAndrea,
his
Will
last name?
DeAndrea, right. And so he made different layers to put in his computer and laid all this stuff out. The schools aren't on this one, but the cemeteries are. And it's going to be handy, because we just got these the other day. So that's going to be handy to people. Here you go, there's a map.
Yeah.
You
Take
go
one
find
off
it.
the sheet when you go.
Pardon?
I told them to just take one off of that pad when they go.
Yeah, if you want one, there's plenty here. Okay, then let's see if I lost my. Oh, there we go. Humphrey Scroggin is the next one,
that's Gleason's.
and he's also in Steve Murray. That's where all the markers are, anyway. You can see that. Whoop, sorry, excuse me. You see his old stone went to pieces. The bottom half is missing. All you got is part of his name, and the picture at the top, and everything else has disappeared. And he has two markers here. One is for him, the one on the right. The one on the left is for his wife. And they're both Abraham Lincoln chapter. And here is his military plaque. And a small plaque. And he was born in 1863 in the Carolinas and died July 1845 in Logan County. His spouse was Sarah Kirby. Served as a private in Virginia. Served in Captain S. Terrence Company with Major George Waller, Colonel Abram Penn's regiment. In 1781, his regiment was ordered from Henry County, Virginia, to the assistance of General Edward Stevens and General Nathaniel Greene at the Battle of Guilford Courthouse. He was also at the siege of Yorktown. Okay, he was living in Sangamon County when pension claim was rejected for not having 6-month service. That happened to about all these guys. I don't know that any of them got their pensions. And there is Sarah's plaque
Oh, just
for
because
being the
she's
wife
alive.
of a Revolutionary War soldier. Now, James Turley is at Carlisle Cemetery, and like I said, I couldn't find his stone, if there was one there. Again, that part of the cemetery, it's still an active cemetery, but this part was back up on a hill. There must have been a church out there at some time, back in the 1830s and 40s, where they used the churchyard for the cemetery. But those stones are as in bad shape as the ones at Music Cemetery. Okay, his service, he died in 1836, so he did die in Sangamon County. Born in Virginia, 1761. He enlisted in 1777 in Captain Thomas Pollard's company, Colonel Ramsey's regiment. He served 4 weeks in 1781 in Colonel Lyon's regiment. He was in a battle of Germantown. Pension roll, Sangamon County, March 16, 1833, age 72. Okay, his name is on a bronze marker at the old state capitol in Springfield. So you've got it even to state level, placed there by the Springfield chapter of the D.A.R. in 1911. He had 2 wives, Agnes Kirby, he married in 1781 in Virginia, and he married Mrs. Sarah Hoblet Lucas, widow of Thomas Lucas. And they had 14 children, or he had 14 between the 2 wives. And residences, had him moving from Virginia to Kentucky. And I like this story. Carrying their 2 firstborn children in baskets, one swung on each side of a steady pack horse. He later settled in what is now Mount Pulaski Township, Logan County. He was living near Lake Fork Timber in the spring of 1820. He was an arbiter among the Indians who called him Big Chief. And the last guy I went after, because his name came up in that same conversation they were having online, Peter Borders. And I ended up ruling him out because he's buried in Irish Grove Cemetery just over the line into Menard County, which would have been part of Sangamon County too. Yeah, but the records of census records, 1830 and 1840, I looked at to see where he was living, although he was buried in Irish, because a lot of people in that area get buried in Irish Grove, that part of Logan County. So 1830 and 1840, he was living in Menard County. And there's his stone with his plaque, and it's Menard's D.A.R. It says right on there.
So that would be the Petersburg chapter.
Yes, probably. This is the way this is the stuff I found at first. Revolutionary War veteran buried in Logan County. He was in that 1917 book, that same book, as being buried in Logan County. Served in the South Carolina troops, was from Newberry County, came to Sangamon County, but died in Logan County. He applied for a pension. But something about this guy, he lived to be 95 years old. He didn't die until 1859. So he was probably one of the last ones around here.
Yeah.
And had plenty of information on him. So now we got the 6, and we got 2 more. So we're up to 8. And I'm sure there are more. We just don't know until the families start doing research to find out where they are and what has happened to them. That we'll have to wait till that happens to find out where they are. So I see no way to compare the itinerant people that came through Logan County and records for the Revolutionary War to put all that together. It's easier to sit and wait for somebody else to do it. But that's the fellows that anybody related to any of these 8 guys?
I love the way you put that together. It's
Oh,
great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Very good.
Thank you. I'm finished then. If you're ready to go
Thank
with your
you.
meeting.
Are you related to any of them?
No.
Just a little something.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I was trying to keep all this straight. John Downing, he was buried near Mount Pulaski
He's in the Bowers Temple.
by Sparks. Oh, okay. I'm putting this down for my husband because he would want to know.
Yeah, I came across John years ago when my wife was looking for there's a Harvey Crocker buried out there. She's from the Crocker line, and she wanted to see if she could tie the 2 families together.
Sure.
Because her Crocker line came from Virginia through Illinois, so settled at Jacksonville, and then they went on to Iowa. So,
Yeah, interesting.
but she couldn't get it tied together.
Oh, thank you.
Where did you and your wife meet?
ISU.
Oh.
She was my
Go birds.
cousin's roommate.
Oh,
You know Carla Ackerman?
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Carla is a donut. And I went up to visit Carla, and Shirley was there. So.
What was your major?
Math education. I was a math teacher for 33 years. And then went into the advanced administration. I was a principal for 9 years.
Where?
That was at a K-12 school up near Streeter called Woodland. It's actually in Livingston County, and Streeter's in LaSalle County, but we bordered each other.
Well, it's neat that you and your wife both are so interested in history and documenting and
Yeah,
stuff.
she stays busy finding her relatives, and she can find some good stuff for me.
Well, that's good.
You're a good team.
Yeah.
Is there cemetery records of John Music burial site?
Where did I see that? There was something. It might have been at Find a Grave that he was listed with Robert and his family members that are buried up there.
Okay.
So I believe it was there.
Well, when we went up there years ago, we just couldn't believe, just how many, graves there were up there.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
And I'm sure if you take a short probe, we had a guy teach us that one night in here. Use a short probe, not one of these great big long ones. Definitely not one of those with the big weight shove in the ground. And you could find the stones to get them out of the ground.
It'd be kind of neat just to go up there for a meeting.
The archives, at the archives
want
in
a ticket or
Springfield, they have a cabinet with the people that applied for the help, you know.
Oh,
'Cause
the
I looked
pensions?
up one and they had custody of their grandchild who was retarded, I guess, and they were in their 80s or whatever, but it was their application to get, because he was in the service. That's why I know it's there. That's where I spent my lunch hours and breaks.
I remember running into you over there a couple of times, yeah.
I was over there all the time.
Programs in there.
No,
Any other questions?
I don't do those.
Good.
Oh,
Yes, thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
really
thank you.
enjoyed that. Thank you. Are we the first organization for you to give this to then? Or?
Yes.
Practice.
Practice it.
But like Rogine alluded to, I've started a YouTube channel for the society,
Yeah.
and I've been since March. I'm still a rookie at it, but I've got like 27, 28 videos up already.
Oh, really?
Do we go through the society to get to it, or you have to give us a separate address?
I usually I can get you a list. It's in your quarterly.
Oh, okay.
It'll be coming up October 1st.
Oh, okay.
But John Fuller was in here Thursday night, so we got to put that one together. This one, we got Ron Keller next Monday night. So we've got a bunch of them to come up.
Good.
But it's mostly about how we do things here, what we do,
Oh.
how we preserve
Oh. Oh.
collections and things of that sort.
Oh.
And then the programs that we have, like we had the jewelry one with Abby Alexander, that's up. Coin collecting,
Oh. That'd be neat.
one was up. Dean Baker did that one. There are a couple others.
I came, there were several of us here for the program on American Indians.